Yo, how's it going, guys and girls? My name's Chris and welcome to my channel, CSM Investing. Saving is a difficult process, especially with all the temptations out there in today's day and age. I would say that the main cause of all this is walking down your local high street and seeing a takeaway on every corner. But you don't even need to leave your house to spend money anymore. A thing as simple as scrolling through Facebook leaves you wanting to throw money at any consumable. That's because every fourth post on there is an advertisement, whether that be for clothes or food. There are opportunities everywhere and anywhere to buy and splurge money on things that you don't need. It's becoming harder and harder to resist these urges because it's just everywhere. Discount code this, 2 for 1 here, eat 8 for less there. It's all thrown in our faces as if it's a good place to put your money, when in reality, it's all a system to keep you at the bottom, docile, and just comfortable enough to keep you where you are. It's just like that job that you can't break free of, as in your head, you fear what the unknown can bring. And instead of embracing that fear and doing what you actually want to do, you fill it with comfort items and food. And that's what the big companies want. But since you're here, you obviously want to learn how to break these habits. Or maybe you're just here because you want to know how some imbecile on YouTube has used these steps to save up a substantial amount of money. And then you want to know what he's actually going to do with it. But all in good due time. Anyway, before we get into any of that, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Right, let's get straight into the video. The first step to begin on your saving journey is to track your spending. Now, I get that this might seem simple and such an obvious thing to say, but once you actually start to track where your money's going, you can then see what you need to deduct or what you need to add on. It's just an easy way of seeing where your money's going and what you need to cut out. Tracking your expenses should become a main priority in your life, because if you don't, you might not know how much you're actually spending on certain things. Take me, for example. At one point in my life, I became very lazy and just decided to order takeaways instead of cooking. And at one point, I ended up spending $70 on 2 pizzas and 2 sides, which is absolutely ridiculous. But even worse, when I did start checking up on my accounts and tracking what I was spending, I previewed that month where I spent that $70 and I looked at where I was eating out at restaurants and takeaways, and take a guess how much I spent. Just in 1 month, $554.52. And that's not even including my missus's $250 on takeaways. But as soon as I saw that number, I made it my mission to change. Something had to be done, and I knew the first step to accomplishing this was tracking everything going in and out of my accounts. It's not as hard as you may think. If you have online banking, there should be a section in there that says spending. Now this gives you all the in and out totals on certain things, and it gives you a whole breakdown, whether this be on clothing, food, bills, utilities. It gives you a whole list of sections, and it's all categorized so it's made easier for you. Now, if you are wanting to save money, I definitely suggest using this technique. It's not hard, it's not difficult, just make sure that you do it. If you're wanting to save up a lot of money in a short amount of time, this second step will help you accomplish this. And this magical step is paying yourself first. Look, if you're not doing this, I can guarantee that you're going to be stuck in whatever financial situation you are. So the basics of this is easy enough to understand. It's literally in the name, pay yourself first. Instead of paying bills straight away, put whatever money you get into a savings and don't touch it at all, whatever money, but make sure that you do a budget so you know what's going out and what should be going in. But always put the money as soon as you get it into your savings, so that way you are definitely paying yourself first. An example of this is Robert Kiyosaki. He says that even when he had barely any money, he would always pay himself first. And when the debt collectors came knocking, he would use that as inspiration to go out and earn more money. The way we go about doing this is by changing how we think, as our biggest asset is ourselves. But not only that, we can also be our biggest liability. So creating a habit of paying ourselves first and our bills second, and then investing it in yourselves, or in this case, saving the money, is what will change us into the assets that we desire instead of the liabilities that we used to be. I've already mentioned this third step in previous videos, but I'm repeating it here just in case you didn't follow the steps or you didn't catch the video. And if that's the case, make sure to go watch it. This step is paying off all and any debt. I can't stress this enough. You need to do this. The less debt that you have, whether it be student debt or credit card debt, you need to eradicate it all to become financially free. From the previous two steps, I've suggested tracking your spending and paying yourself first. But them two steps become completely void, as any money that you're saving isn't really saving, as in the long run you will end up having to pay back any money that you've saved up towards your debts. So getting yourself out of debt as early as possible is of the utmost importance, because then it means any money that you make after getting yourself out of debt all goes into your own pocket. Now that sounds good to me. And once you've followed these steps, seriously watch your money grow. After eradicating all of that debt, any money that you used to owe then goes into your savings, and it makes a crazy difference. I do want to say, please don't spend that extra money that you've acquired. Stick to your goal of saving. That way, when you've saved up enough money, you're not just spending it all, you're using that money to buy an asset to increase whatever money you've got further. Now this step can be integrated in at the beginning, but I felt like I should share them 3 steps first, as I thought they were of the utmost importance. Not to discredit this step, as it can help you out highly, but them 3 are compulsory if you want to save money. This step is to set yourself goals. Obviously, this is a massively important thing to do, as if you set yourself goals, you know how much you need to save and in what sort of time frame you need to do it in. And then this way you can stick to the plan and you won't end up going off on some massive spending spree. Money management is very important, and when you set goals alongside this, there are endless possibilities of what you can do. Here, I'll set a goal for each of you out there. If you're just starting, start by following the steps that I've laid out for you. At first, we're going to start with a relatively low number depending on your financial situation and your age. So let's try to save $500 a month. If this amount is too much or it's too little, then adjust it accordingly. But if you stick to this, then by the end of the year, you would have saved up around $6,000. Now that's a substantial amount of money, especially if you started from zero. Now, if you continue to do this over 3 years, you will then have enough to put a 10% deposit down on a $180,000 house. Just remember, everybody has to start somewhere. It's just about whether you're willing to stick to your goals and see them through. Look, I get it. I've been in the exact same position you are, wanting to go out to the most expensive restaurants, wanting to one-up someone in the way that you dress, looking better, feeling better. But trust me, in the long run, it's not the best way to be. Even though, yes, we are programmed to be like that, it's just break free of it. Trust me, you'll feel so much better in yourself. Instead of constantly trying to beat everyone around you and showing off what you got when you know that you can't really afford it, live more frugally. Now, if you don't know what frugally is, it means living below your means and being slightly stingy. Now, yes, no one likes anyone who's stingy or anyone who's cheap. But living like this in your early years is what's going to make you rich later on in life. Every step I've laid out here for you, I follow myself. And I feel like I'm doing pretty well, to be fair. You just need to realise that as soon as you get money into your bank, you shouldn't go out there and spend it. That's not the right way to do things. And I know I sound boring, but at the end of the day, if you decide not to take this, advice on, that is your own problem. And if you want to carry on splurging your money on stupid brands and expensive restaurants when you can't afford it, then you're going to be sat there in a few years wondering why you're still broke. And then anyone who does take this advice on board, enjoy the journey. It's a hell of a lot of fun. My final thoughts here are that although I do advocate saving, I only suggest it if you're saving for a property that you're going to live in, a property that you're going to rent out, an emergency fund, or you're starting up a business. That way, you're buying an asset. You're not just saving up for a random reason. Having your money in the bank, you don't get much interest on it. What's the point? Instead, if you're not saving up for any of them things, put it in the stock market or invest in index funds. That way, you're compounding your money and you're making it grow even further. I'm Chris, and thanks for coming to my channel. Peace.